Hey, it's Tiff the therapist, and let's do some studying. Just a disclaimer, these videos are not going to ensure that you pass your exam, so I would highly recommend that you watch my previous videos with study materials and take the time out of your day to make sure that you're studying for your exam. Now, I did pass my exam on the first attempt, and the reason, both exams, the NCE and the NCMHCE on the first attempt, simply because I took the time out my day to study. Yes, I was in the field doing the work, but I also studied. So make sure you guys are studying. Some of you, maybe you don't need to, but that's my disclaimer. Put the books to use, okay? Now, we're gonna go ahead and get started on studying. I use the same techniques for all the videos. Each PowerPoint screen will be on for about 3 minutes, and then the screen after that will be explanation of why we chose the answers that we chose. All that I ask is you subscribe to my channel, like it, share, or comment to ensure that I can continue to make these videos for you. And we don't gatekeep over here. So I share all my clinical knowledge with you, and I'm hoping that you're sharing it with those around you. Okay, let's get started. A counselor is seeing a client who has confided in them about ongoing illegal activities but has asked the counselor not to disclose this information. A. Maintain confidentiality as requested by the client. B. Report the illegal activity to the authorities immediately. C. Discuss the limits of confidentiality with the client and consider the potential harm to others. D. Terminate the session and refuse to see the client again. When choosing the answer, remember there is only one right answer, and you want that answer to be the best option, okay? So if you chose the answer C, you chose the best option. And here's a way to help you really come up with a plan for that. So what you do when you read your options is you think of red light, yellow light, green light, okay? So green light will mean this is a good answer. Yellow light will mean this is an okay answer. And D is the answer that you would typically eliminate. And we learned process of elimination in the beginning of school. So kind of keep those same foundational things when you think about this. So number one discusses illegal activities. Everybody knows that each state has different laws when it comes to being a clinician. Remember, this test is not about being in your state. This test is about what is standard overall when it comes to the practice of therapy, okay? And so for that reason, A will not be a good option because there are times when confidentiality does not exist. So I live in the state of Illinois. One of those times is when elder abuse or child abuse exists, right? Some states might have a clause when it comes to someone disclosing their sexuality or if they have any sexual diseases. So that is automatically a red light because remember, this is across the board. It is not based off of different standards for different states. It has to be standard for every clinician, okay? B, report the illegal activities to authorities immediately. Again, this is a red light because it is exactly what I just said. In some states, you have to report it. In some states, you don't have to report it. But remember, this is across the standard. So when you think about the standard of being a clinician, we have confidentiality clauses. We are not allowed to share so much information. So B, again, will be incorrect because it says immediately, right? And so you don't have the time to really decipher if that situation is correct or not. Now you have C and D. The reason why C is the perfect answer is because you discussed when confidentiality would take place, and the limit to that. You would discuss when you'll share this information. So that's why that is a green. And then D, terminate the session and refuse to see decline again. D is a automatic red because we are not allowed to abandon our clients. If you read the Code of Ethics, remember this is where this is coming from, ACA ethics, and I'll make sure I link the ethics down below so you guys can study those and follow along with that. But C is the perfect answer. So really just take your time, guys, with these questions and think about it as like a standard for all therapists when you think about ethic questions, okay? A counselor is asked by their friend to provide therapy for their child. The counselor feels uncomfortable mixing personal and professional boundaries. Option A, agree to see the child as a favor to the friend. Option B, decline and refer the friend to another therapist. C, offer to see the child but maintain strict professional boundaries. D, agree to see the child only for a limited number of sessions. Let's go ahead and use our stoplight again for this, okay? So A, agree to see the child as a favor for the friend. That is an automatic red light when it comes to the ethics presented by ACA because we are not allowed to have dual relationships. B, decline and refer the friend to another therapist. That is a green light because we know that we're not able to provide the service, but we do know that we are allowed to provide a referral. So that's a green light. C, offer to see the child but maintain strict and professional boundaries. Now, C is a yellow light, and the reason why it's a yellow light is because if this was in certain areas, this might be allowed. So in areas where therapists are not heavily populated or resources are quite slim, then this would be an option. But remember, when you are taking this test, you are thinking from a standard of across the board, not in situations that are specific to individual states or locations. So that's why that's a yellow light, because that could be true. But for this test, it is not true. And that's why it's a yellow light and not a red light, because it could be true, but not for this, okay? And then D, agree to see the child only for a limited number of sessions. Again, this could be viewed as a yellow light if you are in a certain location, right? But the reason that we are going to say that it is a red light is because you're not allowed to have dual relationships, okay? So, of course, the answer is B. Decline and refer the friend to another therapist. A counselor is working with a couple in therapy. One partner privately discloses they are having an affair but asks the counselor to keep it confidential. A. Keep the disclosure confidential to maintain trust. B. Inform the other partner immediately. C. Discuss the ethical dilemma with disclosing partner and encourage them to reveal the affair. Or D. Terminate the couple's therapy. Okay, so if you have never worked with couples or you don't understand how couples therapy work or family therapy, I'm gonna stress two important key things about family couple work. There's always an identified there's always an identified client. So if you're working with two partners, one of those people will be the identified client. So that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing you need to know is that when you are working in families like five, six, seven, it is the exact same concept. One individual will be viewed as the client. The reason why that's important is because people would think to themselves, well, let's pretend you have Mary and John, and you choose John as the identified client, and John is the one that shares the information of the infidelity, and then you will say, well, technically John is my client, so I get to hold on to the information that he has shared, and I don't, I don't have the right to share that with the partner because John is my client, or vice versa. Let's say Mary shared the information, but John is the client, then you may say, well, because Mary isn't my identified client, then I can share the information with John. And that is not the case, okay? So I really want to stress that. So let's go ahead and do the red light, green light situation for these options. A, keep the disclosure confidential to maintain trust. Okay, that is a green light when we think about our role, because confidentiality, we supposed to maintain trust, so we're going to keep that as a green light because that's an ethic that we have, okay? B, inform the other party immediately. That is automatically a red light because we do not share confidential information, regardless if it's family therapy or couples therapy, right? If the information was not shared or presented in front of each person that was there present at that moment, then that is unethical. So that's automatically a red, okay? C, discuss the ethical dilemma with the disclosing partner and encourage them to reveal the affair. This is also a green light, okay? And then D, terminate the couple's therapy. That is a red light because remember, we are not allowed to abandon our client. So if you decided that you would end sessions with this person, you will have to go through the transition process, whatever that might look like for you, and then you will have to refer them to other therapists. So D is automatically no, thank you. We're not doing that. So let's go back to our two red lights, A and C. Remember, we're picking the best option, okay? So because A is correct and C is correct, which one is the best option? And C is the best option is because not only are you not disclosing this information, but you are doing your role as a couples therapist by encouraging the partner to share the information because that's what they're there for. They're there to work through their communication issues and to work through infidelity typically. So you are going to encourage the partner to share what needs to be shared because it needs to be shared. And that is the best way to handle the situation. A client discovers that a client they are seeing is also seeing another counselor for the same issues without disclosing this to either counselor. A, confront the client about the dual relationships. B, continue the sessions without addressing the issues. C, consult with the other counselor to coordinate treatment. Or D, discuss with the client the potential risk of seeing two counselors for the same issue. So if you thought about the AC ethics and you wanted to figure out which way to kind of handle some of these questions, you would think about where would the question align? Under which code, which section would it present itself? So for this question here, we're looking at it under the therapist can do no harm. That's kind of where we're going with this situation. And so if we did the red light green light situation that we have been doing, confront the client about the dual relationships. So we'll give that one a yellow. And the reason we'll give it a yellow is because of the word in the front, confront. So some therapists do like to utilize that technique. Some therapists don't, but it's that word that's in the front that's confront, which is really was making it a gray area, okay? B, continue the sessions without addressing this issue. B is an automatic red because remember, we can do no harm. So there is a risk of this client seeing two different providers for the same issue, and the risk of that is that all therapists are not the same. We do not specialize in the same treatments, and we do not have the same views, and majority of clinicians know this. So if you have one clinician that thinks one way and you have another clinician that thinks another way, then there is a really good chance that this could cause some cognitive dissonance inside the client or cause some distress and anxiety for the client, which will not help the problem at all but actually heighten the symptoms. So remember, duty, it is your duty not to harm. So that is automatically red. C, consult with the other counselor to coordinate treatment. Now, C is also yellow because if you receive a release of information, then that could be true, right? But that doesn't say that right there. It does not say that you have that. It doesn't say to ask the client for that. It's not like, oh my goodness, you can't do it. The thing is that you just would need the paperwork to do so. So that's why that's yellow, which means it's just not the best answer. And then you have D, discuss with the client the potential risk of seeing two counselors for the same issue. D is the best answer because you are having a conversation with your client to discuss the effects of what could happen, which we already talked about what could happen. So D is a green. In this situation, you only had one green, so it wasn't really hard for you to make that decision. A counselor feels attracted to a current client and is finding it difficult to maintain professional boundaries. A, disclose the feelings to the client and discuss how to proceed. B, continue seeing the client and try to suppress the feelings. C, seek supervision or consultation and consider transferring the client to another counselor. D, end the professional relationship and begin a personal relationship. Okay, we're going to go ahead and use our infamous red, yellow, green light situation. Disclose the feelings to the client and discuss how to proceed. We're going to go ahead and make this a yellow simply because disclosure is important when working with clients, but sometimes disclosure could cause more harm. So we're just going to go ahead and make this a yellow. B. Continue seeing the client and try to suppress the feelings. This is automatically a red light because number one, why would you continue to see this client and not talk to anybody about what's going on? How could you be a therapist and do that? Okay. C. Seek supervision or consultation and consider transferring the client to another counselor. That is a green light because in our role, seeking supervision is one of the most important skills that you can have. You have to do this constantly to check yourself, okay? D, end the professional relationship and begin a personal relationship. This is an automatic D. Now, you guys know that there is some clauses that say that you can have a relationship with a former client if some of the things take place. For instance, it's been over 5 years. That's one thing. Another thing is that there isn't a power control situation where you can harm that person mentally. And if you don't really know all about how that works, go ahead, click the link below for the ACA and go ahead and just read up on your ethics again. It is important for you to have this information inside your head. And sometimes we forget because y'all know we learning so much and we continuously learning. So I get it. But it's really important that you go back to the code of ethics, read up on it, try to familiarize yourself with it, and just really know what you're doing when it comes to your role as a clinician and when it comes to this test, okay?